Hey there, humans, and welcome to my basically giant walk-in deep freeze cooler, also known as Ganondagan State Historical Site. And today I'm out in some really frigid weather, and I want to preface this video by saying what I'm doing today can be extremely dangerous. It's about 1 degree out without the wind chill. So yeah, anytime the wind blows, it's going to get below 0, and at that temperature, about 20 to 30 minutes of exposed skin will start to get frostbite. So why did I say this can be dangerous? Well, because if you're not properly prepared, if you haven't dealt with this kind of cold before, if you haven't already tested your cold weather gear in warmer weather, then it can be dangerous. There's a lot of things I factor into today with this hike in particular. One, I know these trails extremely well, so not really any chance of getting lost out here. Two, it's early in the day. I'm not going to be fighting against getting back before dark. A big one is, I have a front wheel drive car. I can't just go anywhere. A lot of the trailheads this time of year are tough to get in and out of, so I factored that in, that I know I can park and get out of the parking area with no problem. With that said, I have a full tank of gas. If I did get stuck, I could at least keep my heat on until help came and got me. I've had AAA for like 15 plus years and I've never used them, so probably about due. Yeah, so I'm not wearing everything I'm gonna hike in. There's an old saying that be bold, start cold. And that basically just means don't wear all your warm weather stuff in your vehicle to the hike. You're gonna get warm, and don't necessarily start out with all your warmest gear on the hike, because you're gonna warm up as you move and you do not want to sweat. The sweat kills. If you get wet in this kind of cold and then you stop moving for any reason, you're gonna get hypothermia. So long story short, I'm gonna get geared up. I don't know how long I'm gonna go in this mess. I just wanted to get a couple miles in, make sure I'm comfortable with all my cold weather gear. The gear that I bought is meant to go on top of mountains in negative degree weather, minus 20 degree wind chills. So I'd like to test my gear in lesser elements first, before I take them into the extremes. I have also tested most of this gear already last year in pretty cold weather, so I'm pretty comfortable, I'm pretty confident. However, if you do not have experience in this type of weather, make sure you have a good plan, and make sure you let people know what you're doing, and just be careful out there. And really, I don't know, it's kind of a silly thing to do, but I grew up in this, and I only get out and do it a couple times a year. So let's go have fun. Let's go do this. So one thing that I didn't mention in the intro is that in my backpack I basically have an extra of all my essentials. Extra hats, jacket, gloves, socks, anything that could possibly fail or get wet that could compromise my safety. I have another one in there. The idea is not to get wet, but I'd rather have it and not need it, And I don't have snowshoes today because I'm really hoping I don't need them, but I am wearing my micro spikes for extra traction. So hopefully the snow doesn't get too deep, because that could definitely kill the hike. Ooh, it is brisk. Okay, so about a mile in or so, I decided to stop and address something. This is where experience kind of comes into play. So the hike in is through a field that's completely exposed and it's windy. And so I made sure I got myself into the woods here a little bit, and the wind, there's essentially no wind in here right now, and it's a little lower where I'm at than the field. But basically, my thumbs were getting cold. Using the trekking poles kind of exposes your hands a little bit more. I wear gloves in this kind of weather because I truly believe gloves, or mittens, I'm sorry, I wear mittens because I think they keep your hands a lot warmer. And underneath these mittens I have glove liners, which are just an extra level of insulation. So what I'm doing is stopping for a minute and I'm balling up my hands inside these mittens. That way they can all share the heat together, which is why mittens are better for your fingers in general. And I'm just gonna give them a second. I'll let my thumbs warm up a bit, and then a good chunk of the hike now is in the woods, so not quite as exposed to the wind. And I think I'll be pretty good. Overall I feel great. I actually need to make sure I take it easy so I don't sweat, because my core is good. I'm very warm. I don't have great circulation, so I'm always mindful of my toes and my fingers. And so the glove liners and the mittens that I have are rated for super cold weather, but sometimes the weather wins. As far as my feet go, I got like mountaineering boots that are insulated, plus 2 layers of merino wool socks, so I'm not too worried about my feet. They should stay pretty warm. But when you're out in this kind of weather, you got to constantly be thinking about all the aspects. And if you start to feel something that isn't right, like my thumbs were getting cold, deal with it. Don't wait. That's a bad situation. All right, let's wrap this up and keep moving. we're good. Okay, humans, we are back to the car. Well, hey there, humans. And as you can see, I am not on the trail. I'm actually back in the Foxhole Studios where I put my videos together, and yeah, I couldn't finish the video out on trail. We had a couple of gear failures, and first one was the GoPro. Did not like the cold weather. I knew these things could overheat. I've never gotten one cold enough to just not work. But even worse is it would like kind of start and go for a couple seconds, maybe a minute, and then quit. And I don't know when that started. So I don't know what footage I have. I haven't looked. I may have lost a lot. So if you don't get to see the bear and the moose practicing their ballroom dancing together, that sucks, because that was an epic shot. But more critically, I don't know if I have a shot of it or not, but the inside of my alpine ski goggles froze up. They're not supposed to do that. So I need to go back and look at the footage, see. I assume I inhibited the ventilation in it. It's supposed to vent out the top, and maybe I covered up the top too much, and all that moisture built up in there, and I didn't even notice it until I stopped moving, and then it like boom, instantly froze over. I put the goggles inside my jacket on the walk back. Body heat wasn't enough to thaw them out. So fortunately this was not eyeball freezing weather, not even close. But it was more comfortable going in with the goggles than it was going out without them, but I was okay. So yeah, long story short, it was a successful hike. You know, all the digits are turning back to their normal colors, and for the most part my gear worked really well. I would say my toes got a little bit cold, so I'm gonna look into that. I do have warmer socks, but I didn't wear them because they don't really breathe well, and you know, you don't want anything getting sweaty and clammy. You want it to be able to dry as you go. So I'll look into that a little bit more, but no harm done. All right, humans, I gotta like take some time, look and see what I do or don't have for footage, and see if I can make a video out of this. And in the meantime, I think I'm going to order some Chinese. I think I earned it. All right, humans, catch you later.